What's up, Walking Dead friends and family? It is Brian Castrillo, and I am back with another review. This is for The Walking Dead Season 11B, and this is Rogue Element Episode 11. And this was one of the most incredibly unique and different episodes. I absolutely love it. It was directed by Michael Cutlass, who did a fantastic job. I really like when he directs, because it brings a really great perspective. You got someone who has played a really cool character within the Walking Dead universe, and then he brings that perspective from the director, from behind the camera, and he's done really an amazing job, and I absolutely love this episode. And we got sort of a Dr. Sherlock Porter here, if you will, in this episode. It was really cool. And so we start off and we see, Eugene and Stephanie in bed, and I guess all those times of Eugene watching, Rosita and Abraham behind the books finally paid off, because he finally got some. But then it kind of trails, and this is a really beautiful and really kind of unique episode that it makes you feel bad for Eugene, because he's been through so much, and then he goes from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other. But it's really kind of beautiful, and then he sets up this date, and she never shows up for ice cream. They show him sitting there. The ice cream's all on his hand. The details to that, like, he must have been sitting there a long time. But he finally goes back to the apartment, and you see this guy coming out, and he takes that moment to go up, and he's knocking on the door. But the camera kind of pans into her apartment, and you see her. She's trying to take out clothes frantically to get out of there. And then you got moving company coming taking her stuff, and Eugene's getting worried. He doesn't know what the heck's going on, and he's got the amazing mullet in this episode. It was fantastic. And then it kind of we got Connie, who's trying to pursue with Kelly. She's trying to pursue this story on Tyler, and why he has so much animosity towards the Commonwealth and what's going on. And I kind of feel like this relationship with Connie and Kelly, and you got Princess and Eugene, they're kind of mirroring each other's stories. But Connie's trying to get her boss to let her pursue the story, but her boss seems like she wants to kind of drop this and kind of get out of the way. And there's this moment where this other guy who's working there, and Connie tells him to wait up, but then she tells him to go on. And we'll come back to that later, because I think that guy might have played a role later on, but we'll get to that. Now, then you got Lance and Stephanie, and they're kind of taking this trip to this other group that it's sort of a rogue group, and they're not part of the Commonwealth, but they're working with the Commonwealth. They're making opium so they can use that in the hospital, but they're doing it kind of on the side without the main Commonwealth really knowing. But throughout this, you're seeing Carol and Lance Hornsby kind of feeling each other out, and seeing how far they can go, how they can trust each other. And you got two very kind of similar minds just kind of almost playing games with each other. And we know how Carol is, but Lance, you can see his inner mind's working too. And you meet the head of this group, Motto, and they go fish. Her and Carol go fishing, and Lance, and they're just kind of talking out. And eventually, Carol figures out that they're sort of pocketing this money, and eventually Lance arrests him. And it's funny, because then he goes, "You mother puss bucket," and AMC can. I thought it was funny when he called him a mother puss bucket, but we're in a zombie apocalypse. We've seen some things in these past years. A couple swears here and there aren't going to hurt anybody, but the scene was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. But it makes me wonder, because you see, the rest of the group as he's getting arrested, kind of looking kind of awkwardly, what's going on. So think we're going to be definitely coming back to that, and what kind of games is, Lance playing. And Carol is kind of using her own personal motivation to kind of get up higher, not only to help Ezekiel get that surgery, but I feel like she's trying to position herself to be able to do some things later on, and we know how great Carol is at doing that. Now you remember how I said that I think that those two relationships, Connie and Kelly, Princess and Eugene, kind of mirror each other, because you see Kelly telling Connie to just kind of give it up. You got to let it go. So, we're not going to be here forever, and you just got to let's just live life. Let's be okay for a moment. And we're going to come back to that, because now you got Eugene, or as I'm calling him, Sherlock Porter, going through, and he's got this elaborate setup on his wall with strings going everywhere, with Stephanie in the middle, and then here comes Princess coming in, and I did laugh at this scene. She comes in with a pot, some sort of Tupperware or some glass, whatever, and she says, "I brought lasagna," and then she hands it to Eugene, walks in, and there's nothing, and Eugene's like, "There's nothing in this," and she's like, "Yeah, I know, but anyone who brings food, you're gonna let them in." So I just thought that was funny. But she sees the wall that he's going in, and she sees all the different points of what he's going to, and he gets her to kind of help him out. And we found out Eugene followed that guy, ended up following that guy whose name is Roman Calhoun, and he's crossing the dots and telling Princess all about this. And you see him kind of going into like the plumbing, and you see kind of shadowy figures, different people who he's trying to figure out who they are. One of them, I picked up on this right away. It was definitely Lance. You can see the figure, but then we also have a moment where Mercer is doing some training with his guards, and there's this absolute epic fucking kill on a walker, which one of the best. So basically, you got these two guards. One of them's trying to carry him away. You got these walkers coming through, and here comes Mercer. He's killing all these different walkers. And eventually, as one of the walkers got one of the the guards pinned to the ground, he comes up with his axe and in badass Mercer fashion. And this is a tribute to what Michael Cutlass was doing, because this was one of the best scenes I've ever seen within the entire universe. And he splits that zombie's head right down the middle, and you see Mercer's right through it. Absolutely epic. Well done. Love that scene. And then he's all bloody, and then you see Connie. He's asking Mercer, talking about Tyler Davis and how Mercer, personally promoted him for promotion, for early promotion. And then Mercer's like, "That's not the question you want to ask." And then finally she mentions how fake Stephanie, or Max as we know her, is actually his sister, and that was kind of an interesting scene. Then we're seeing Princess and Eugene break into that Calhoun's apartment, and they find he finds some keys while she's watching, and they open up this suitcase, and it's got knives, it's got binding wires and whatnot, and guns. Looks like a professional kidnapping case, which was kind of interesting. And then they're trying to get out because someone's coming, and then some older lady with a guard points him out and gets him arrested. And so you got Princess telling, they get into the they're arrested, and then eventually Lance comes in, and he's basically saying, there's nothing wrong going on, but I want to get you out of trouble. This is Lance to Eugene, and I'm just gonna have you sign this, and it's just talking about your PTSD, your stress level is high, and so he goes ahead and signs this, and then there's a scene where, Princess is telling basically Eugene to drop it, just like Connie was telling, Kelly was telling Connie. That's why I'm thinking that their stories are paralleling a little bit, because they're both kind of investigating and finding things that are shady and not right within the Commonwealth. But then you see, Eugene finally following somebody into that base of that same plumbing place, and Eugene gets he's bringing a spray bottle. I don't know what the hell he thought he was going to do with that, but it was funny. The guy attacks him, who's pointed him out as he's following this woman, and he sprays him in the face. I'm like, okay. But then he gets his ass handed to him by Stephanie, who just basically kicks and throws him to the ground. So clearly this woman has had some sort of special training, because this was quick and to the point. Like, she had to have some sort of special training. And, they go up the stairs, and then down comes Lance Hornsby. So I was right knowing that he was part of this. And so Lance is based, you see Eugene, and he's amazing. And this is just Josh McDermott at his best. He's showing how emotional, distraught he was, because he loved her, and he thought Stephanie loved her. And then, Lance is listening to him, and then he basically says, yeah, so I lied to get you in here, but you wanted to be here, and, you guys lied or whatever. And just so you know, her name was Sharon, and she hates Iron Maiden, but she really loved your book and thinks that you should continue doing that. But what's going on with these meetings? Are they somehow connected to these opium dream, deals, or is it like I was saying earlier on, that Lance is connected to the CRM somehow? Because why does this Stephanie, who actually, we'll just call her Sharon now, she has some clear fighting training, but what are these people doing under the the dark of the Commonwealth? Because I do believe this group has ulterior motives that Pamela may not realize. Pamela, while she is a bit corrupt, she just wants to maintain the status quo, is kind of what I'm thinking. But this group, Lance might have some other motives. Now, I am curious as to what they're going to do with this Moto guy, and because they had him arrested. But at the end, you see Connie and Kelly, and they're talking about, you got to let it go. We just got to live our life. Let's be happy for a little bit. This isn't forever, etc. And then you see the lights flicker, and someone was clearly, I guess that's how, because she's deaf, she can't hear it. So that's her kind of alarm. And they go, and there's this list, and that's list lifted under the door. That person's gone. They took off quickly. And I think it may have been that guy who Connie was trying to get to do the story. He was just standing there. But there's this list of people, and then the last list is Tyler Davis. So this person, whoever dropped this off, is clearly trying to push a message and wants this out there. But who is this person? But interesting, like, I quickly glanced over, and I didn't have time to really go through every single name on there, but I did notice Dan McDermott, because I thought of Josh McDermott. But not only that, but Dan McDermott is actually the AMC Entertainment president. And the Walking Dead universe is known for doing this, using some of their own people and pushing them out there, which I thought that was really cool. But did you guys notice anything else about any of the other names that were on there? But the Dan McDermott he's the AMC Entertainment president, and I believe he's a writer and a producer. But I thought that was kind of a really cool thing. But yeah, overall, I love this episode. I love that Josh McDermott had his own centric episode, because he is incredibly talented. I love that Michael Cutlass was the one who directed this, and those two are absolutely fantastic people. I got to meet them both at Walker Stalker. I got to go to the VIP party, and both of them are incredibly funny. It was just a joy to meet them. I got pictures with them both. Hopefully I get to meet them again, because I want to have them sign my book of autographs it's a first edition hardcover book of The Walking Dead. But I got great memories meeting them, and I hope someday we get Josh McDermott back on social media, because I truly miss his presence. I love seeing Michael Cutlass's posts, but fantastic people. But what did you guys think of this episode? I really enjoyed it. A lot of great moments in this episode, and hinting as to what's going to happen next. I'm excited. The writing and the directing, the special effects. I'm loving it. But what were your favorite parts of this episode of Rogue Element? What were some some moments or clues that you picked up in this Sherlock Porter episode, if you will, and what were your favorite parts? Just let's talk about it in the comments. But as in every of my Walking Dead reviews, I always give a shout out, and this is no different. This is going out to Linda Peck Athens. You may know her as Fan Art Lindy. She is a phenomenal artist. She has done everything from Mercer to some great art on Fear the Walking Dead. Fantastic. If you have not seen her art, you are truly missing out. I got her links in the comment description. Check it out. If you can, maybe order a print from her. Her art is top notch. You're gonna love it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys as always, and I can't wait for the next episode. I'll see you guys.